in the struggle right now. Come on.
And we are back for another episode of Dead Last Cycling. And we're gravel racing, so that means buying a new bike.
Head over onto the drop shop, spend some of our hard-earned drops. There's only one choice here. That is the Cannondale Super X Lab 71. Now, if you are curious what that X stands for, it is extreme, which is why we've got to buy it. Also happens to be the best bike for gravel racing. I understand the Aspiro 5 is more aero, but those tests don't take into account that I'm going to be sitting behind 92 kilogram Bill from accounting for most of the race. Got to get some wheels for this bad boy too. And then this one, there's no debate. The Roval Terra Aero CLX, another X, double extreme. We're going extreme squared. Get them equipped. Woo, look at that.
New whip secured, it was time to get into the race, but quite a few people had decided to race this on a road bike.
Looks like we got quite a few guys on road bikes here, which makes this little starting section harder. Got a pro tip on that right before I joined the pen. I might be off the back now if I hadn't.
Ironically, despite being told right before the race started to look out for it, and mentioning it, I'm drifting off the back, and within a few seconds, I was off the back, and bridging to a big group on a descent is basically impossible.
I think that's me gone.
I thought this was my race over, but what I didn't know is that we were about to hit a little gravel incline that would thankfully let my small group slide back into the main peloton. Crisis averted, but I just spent a couple of matches that I shouldn't have.
Oh man, that was so noob. I just completely blew myself.
Now, I really didn't recon this route very much at all, only watching one race on it, and I'd neglected to pay much attention to the first half, but there was a reason for my lack of preparation.
To be honest, I thought I was gonna miss this race. Cause I've been a bit injured this week. Tweaked my sciatic nerve in my left glute, and on Thursday and yesterday it just didn't look like this was gonna be possible.
Coming off an injury or not, I try to race as smart as possible, and I was pretty mad at myself for that mistake.
Spending that match down that downhill was dumb. Really dumb. The biggest mistake I made in a while there. Just not switched on for this race at all. So hard to know what to do in these races because usually when they split it all, that's the game over, Red Rover.
But hey, we'd made it back in and luckily had a decent amount of time to recover before the climb, which would likely split the group.
Not a very big group, not surprising. Mid-April nearly, a lot of people riding outside. I don't think gravel is something that really entices that many people.
Between the improved weather in the Northern Hemisphere and people needing to spend their hard-earned drops on new bikes for these races, the attendance was about what I was expecting. But as we've seen, some people were riding this on a road bike and it was working for them, so far at least. But with the climb to come, I was expecting that to change.
In theory, these road bike boys should be in the struggle on the uphill, because that's the one bit I have looked at.
Jungle Circuit's climb is a long, shallow drag, but with the increased rolling resistance of gravel, the speeds were going to be a bit slower, meaning it'd take us a good 5 or 6 minutes to get up it. As the surface has changed on the run-in, I kept needing to spike the power to stay connected to the road bike squad, which is obviously far from ideal, and I was starting to get into my own head.
Man, I am racing this badly.
Whilst I felt like I was racing it badly, whenever we were on gravel, I felt like I was moving through the pack easily, and bizarrely, a lot of people were already using their power-ups. I was hoping to save mine for a sprint finish, but first, I'd have to make it up and over the climb.
I was definitely hoping to start this without having to have spiked the power so much.
Not an ideal start, but again, as soon as we got back onto the gravel, moving up in the pack felt easy. I was pushing a reasonable amount of power, but it wasn't uncomfortable, and I just about managed to recover from my earlier lapse in race IQ. This climb is a long, steady grind, and as predicted, most of the road bikes who had been making us work earlier were sliding down the field, and things were getting strung out.
Oh, legs are stinging.
It's been a while since I did a scratch race, with the past 2 to 3 weeks basically being time trials, so it's been a bit since I did this kind of effort. Couple that with the injury, and this being my first race in Upper Cat C, and I wasn't feeling that confident if I'm honest.
In the struggle right now. Come on.
I was struggling, but we'd split the group and I was in the front selection. I didn't feel like I was in real danger of sliding off the back, but this climb, as with just about every climb I do, was feeling like it was lasting forever. And I knew from the little recon that I had done that this climb keeps kicking you for a long time after the top.
One more section here, and we got downhill into a punch. Oh!
The kicker following the brief descent isn't the only punch you have to account for, as once you make it to the flat top section, there are a few unmarked risers that can really hurt you, and with the slightly different dynamics of gravel racing, easily spit you out of the back. So I knew staying in good position until we hit the downhill proper was going to be vital.
Ease off.
I was hurting, but I rolled into the vicious kick in good position, and as nobody had rocket boosters on their bike, we made it over okay. We had to keep the power down though and stay switched on because we weren't out of the woods yet.
It's spikes over here. Like they're tying up big time. Needs getting this downhill.
Legs were tying up, but crucially, we'd managed to keep hold of the bulldozer power up. Now granted, I had no idea how long that lasts or exactly what it did, but it's always reassuring to still have a nice shiny power up in your possession when most people have already spent theirs.
Okay, I think now we can recover a little. Not long left.
Finally, it was time to breathe and prepare for a sprint finish. Just a little aside on sprinting. I'm having a big problem and maybe some of you can help me out. Right now when I sprint on the turbo, my bike is flying forward, sometimes by up to a foot. And spoiler alert, in my attempt to sprint at the end of this one, I nearly ended up going through my monitor, so I need to figure it out. For context, I'm using the Kicker Core 2 with the tennis ball feet and a real bike, as you can see. Any tips for how I can secure my trainer, or perhaps improve my technique? Either way, please let me know because it's becoming a big problem. Back to the race though, and we'd had an escapee, and it looked like we had all settled for second.
I think that fella's got it. Chapeau. Nobody wants to chase, we got Group 2 syndrome.
J6 had tailgunned right through us just as we thought we were safe. But there were still 2 steps on the podium up for grabs, and as with every race, we're always going to sprint for the finish line.
Chapeau, J6. I was sick, but I got second. We'll take second coming off an injury.
J6's attack was indeed sick, but shockingly, with his 4 watts per kilogram for 20 minutes, he didn't show up on Zwift power.
I gotta do something. My bike, when I'm sprinting, it moves forward like 6 inches. But thanks for watching, guys. If you can like, comment, or subscribe, I'd appreciate it. See you guys next week.
Next week, we should have another 2 races, as we'll be back in with the Sea Slugs on Tuesday for our very first points race, and stage 2 of PAS later in the week. See you then.